Alright, so we're going to be doing another Bukkit tutorial, and this one's going to be abstraction with, or GUIs with abstraction. And basically right now we just have a quick little setup made for basically like a virtual user manager. And this is kind of expected of you guys to be able to know how to do. If you don't know how to do it, you can just look at this code. It's really simple. You have a private static map, which is going to be taking the UIDs of your players and allowing you to getting the user object. So you look at this user object, it's storing basic things like their UID, whether or not they're online, stuff like that. And then the player join and player quit. You can see that we are checking if the user manager has this UID, and if not, or if it does, hold on, that is incorrect. If it has it, it's going to set it to online, and if it does not have it, it's just going to make a new user. And then obviously, since we're definitely going to have this player whenever the server is stopping or when they're leaving, we're just going to set it to offline to false. I did forget to do this, but if you're wanting a system like this to work correctly, and you don't kick players when the server reloads, you're going to have to iterate through all the online players and set them to a new user whenever the server reloads or whatever, because obviously you won't have them whenever the server reloads the memory. But it's a very basic idea behind user management, and this is something you guys should catch on to very soon. But that's besides the fact. We are going to be working on GUIs. And sorry if my voice keeps changing because I have to look up at my screen, so you guys don't have to deal with my terrible quality. Alright, so we're going to make a class called Abstract GUI. If you guys don't know what abstraction is, it's basically what an abstract class is. Basically a class that you can't instantiate it, you can only extend it, which is important in making this entire thing sort of make sense. Okay, so we are going to first start with some of the obvious things you're going to need for a GUI: the slot and the title, or the amount of slots. I'm going to rename that in a second. That is important. Whoops. Abstract class, not abstract. That is not a type. We're also going to have an inventory type, and we're also going to have this private static. We're just going to define that in a second because we need to first do a few things. So we're going to have a way to get the inventory just in case you need to get it. I really don't think you're ever going to need this, but I'm just doing it anyways because who knows. Simple getters and stuff like that. You guys should try familiarizing yourself with this. We're also going to have a way to open it. You can just have either player.open inventory and then get inventory, or you can have a void method. You can do that, whatever you want to do. But the meat of this, for making interaction work, is having an interface for doing these actions. And we're just going to call this abstract action because I'm very creative. And you will have a few arguments. You can change this all you want, but this is just the basic arguments that we're going to need. You can pass the item stack in there if you need to. You can pass a slot. I mean, you don't really need to pass a slot, but I think you only really need the player. That's pretty much all. Whenever the inventory or this is instantiated, you're going to set the inventory to a new inventory. So Bukkit create inventory. I'm terrible at typing. So this is going to be null because that's supposed to be the inventory holder, and obviously no one holds this inventory. And let me see if I can remember this. Let's use the import first. I don't remember the rest of the arguments because I'm stupid. It is the slots and then the string. Okay, that's good. Alright. So you make this inventory and you have everything set up already. This is the very basic meat of this tutorial. This is all you need to do, except for one more thing, and that is setting the items, which is simple. You will have your map, like I said before. This is not going to be static because it needs to be per instance. And yes, I did take this tutorial from someone on Spigot forums. I do not remember their name, but it is a pretty good idea for doing these type of things because it's pretty organized and you will not have trouble with it in the future because it's super easy to add new things. But for this, all you have to do is do actions.put, and you have to have a slot. So all these have to be bound to a slot. That's an important part. You have to have some way to identify these items, which is important. And we'll just do inventory set item slot item. There you go. This is the meat of the entire tutorial, is using this thingy. And this is the amount of slots that will be used. You actually don't have to have these as private fields. But this is just basically how big the inventory is going to be, and then of course the title of the inventory. You can colorize that if you want to, it really doesn't matter. And to add on to this, to actually make an inventory with this abstract class you just created, which you of course can copy paste, I really don't care, you will just extend abstract GUI. So obviously there's going to be error because you have to implement the constructor. And if you don't know what super means, it's really simple. Basically all it's doing is calling this constructor, alright? So super is referring to the super class, so if there's a method in the super class, you can call it with that. It's just referring to the parent class, that's all. So once you have this, you don't have to have the constructor exactly the same. You can of course pass in a player, or you can just have the base class have that. Doesn't really matter, it can be anything you want. And then at the end of all your creation, you just do player, I think it's open inventory, yeah, get inventory. Like I said, you can just do a public void, open, do whatever you want, it really doesn't matter. So to make all these actually work the way you want it to, you will have to start adding your items. And I'm just going to do a quick little, actually that's supposed to be short. This is just going to be an inventory that shows all of the glass values that you can see, and we're just going to have it do nothing really. I mean, this is an example, so you can do whatever you want. So do new item stack. Oh yeah, if you're wondering why I have all of these imports, because this is from our previous tutorial where we had like every single version of Craft Bukkit imported. So just to let you know that it's not something you should expect to see. And alright, so what we're going to be doing, I do not remember the amount of items for this, but we're just going to assume that it's I think it's 15. That should be the amount, I'm not sure. And we are going to do set item. Actually, this would be more important. You can do lambdas with this if you're using Java 8, or you can use an abstract or not abstract anonymous classes. It depends on what Java version you're using. It doesn't really matter if you use lambdas and or anonymous classes in Java 8, because the performance is I've heard that lambdas are actually faster in a heated up JVM, but it's kind of subjective. People kind of think what they want. But if you're going to be reusing abstract actions, you should just create an abstract action right off the bat, okay? So this is obviously using anonymous classes. I'll go and show you guys both ways. And that is an anonymous class, just to let you guys know. And you can implement whatever you want in here. And then to do, whoops, I did that wrong. Okay, P, and then your arrow, and then that, my bad. And then your semicolon. I do not write lambdas that much, so I forget the format. But yes, this is a lambda, and you can use whatever you want depending on your Java version. But it looks a little cleaner when you use lambdas because you don't have to implement the method. So whatever happens in here is whatever is going to be executed, and we will go ahead and just send the player a message. So you can close the inventory, and then player send message, hi. And that's wonderful. And then for every single item, we're just going to call set item, and then if I can remember what the arguments were. Okay. Glass item, the data will be I, and also the slot will be I. And what else do we have? I'm very forgetful. The action. Alright. So, just to recap what we're doing here. This is, of course, subjective depending on what you want your GUI to do. But we're making an action because we're going to be reusing this action. So, you shouldn't be doing a lambda for every single time you're recreating the same action. And then we're iterating through 0 to 15. The reason why I did this is short because whenever you set a data value to an item stack, there has to be a short or a byte. I don't know which one. And the argument, make a glass item, we're just passing in the data value, and then we're setting the slot. So this will be, whenever we're doing 14, which will be red glass, it'll be set to slot 14. And then action, we will just close the inventory and tell them hi. Really, really simple. And to actually call this is super, super easy. All you have to do is color GUI, tell them amount of slots. It's going to be at least 16 or something, 18. What is it? Let's do 27. And then the title, so colors. And then, of course, you have to check if this is an instance of a player. Don't forget to do this, because if you don't do this, you will have an error after a while. We will cast that to a player. Whoa, that is way, way easier, guys. You do not have to go and make giant classes with thousands of lines and giant inventory click things. Speaking about that, you do have to make an inventory click thing eventually, right? So this is really easy. First of all, we're going to go ahead and grab our user manager. If I can type correctly, we will. And since it's going to be instantiated after the fact, it's kind of safe to call it. This is public. Oh, we imported the wrong one, huh? Alright, so yeah, user manager. This is just going to be allowing us to set the thing. We're doing this in the wrong class, by the way. Really do it in either class. You can do it in abstract class. Just the big thing about abstract classes, or in general just parent classes, is it's very helpful in getting rid of duplicate code. So if you're going to be opening the inventory every time, you should put it in this class. Alright, so get UID. Well, actually we'll do that because we don't have the player in here. So if you are going to have a player for all these, you might as well have it as player. My bad. I'll go and change this, and then I'll jump cut to show you guys what we've done because I'm stupid. Okay, folks. So what we did with our user, we added a field called abstract or current GUI, and this is pretty important for doing the action manager type thingy because you need to know what GUI they're using. And in the abstract GUI class, what we did is just added the player argument and then open the GUI, and then last but not least, we're gonna get their unique ID, and I forgot to make a setter. Don't forget your setters. And this, there you go. I did not write a script for this, so really all of this is off the top of my head, so I'm going to be making a bit of mistakes. But this is the meat of it right here. As you can see, we did modify our abstract GUI class. You will probably modify it too, to your own needs. But that's the point of this class. You can prevent your duplicate code and make your other classes look way better. Like, this is only 29 lines, and it manages all of your inventory needs. You do not have to do like if you wanted to have per click like high and then it says red for 14, it would be super easy to do it, and you don't have to have giant inventory click classes. We're going to go ahead and show you what inventory click classes would look like using this method. It's pretty elegant. And yes, we are going to be using the dreaded singleton. Don't hate me for it, right? I'm lazy. Okay, so as you can see, I kind of skipped ahead, but this is all common sense. Hopefully, we register the event, all that amazing things. So we are going to first get the user. What is it? Event.get. Oh, this is a pain. I remember how annoying this is. You have to do player event. Get. Is it get who clicked? Yeah, that's stupid. Why'd they name it that? I really hate that. And it's a human entity. It's always going to be player, if I remember correctly, so don't worry about it. If event.get item or get her item equals to null, then you want to return. Make sure you do all those null checks, stuff like that, before you do any of this, because if you don't, you're going to have some issues. You do abstract action, abstract GUI, current GUI equals user. And get current GUI. Yes, we are going to do a null check. Don't worry, guys. That was not what I meant to do. Alright, so once you check all that stuff, all you have to do is do click. No, you don't. You have to do get action, which we forgot to implement. I'm on my ball today, guys. But yeah, this is something that's important. You have to have a way to get these abstract actions. So you just do get action and slot. Super easy. I mean, how could I forget this? Extremely easy. And luckily, with our amazing method, we can get the slot that was used, and then we can call click with the player. So as you can see, instead of having a giant class, I'll go and show you some exclusive code here from about a year and a half ago, whenever I wasn't very experienced at programming yet, and as you can see, it's already kind of a mess. This was how big our inventory click classes got. Trust me, guys, it'll take a while to scroll through all this, with all the if checks and all the special things we had to do, because we didn't use abstraction or any objects. So yeah, we're still scrolling, by the way. I hope you realize that. We're almost there, don't worry. But you could probably reduce something like this using objects and abstraction to maybe 500 lines at most. Yeah, I have a headache. I actually wrote that when I finished writing this class. So don't be like me 2 years ago. Do your classes like this, because it will save you a lot of time. It will make it really easy to update. Staff Plus does this, and Staff Plus is a huge plugin, so yeah, that's the reason why to use it. It'll save you if you do something like this. I'll show you in action in a little bit, but that's all. Very easy. Good luck.